Today I'm joined by a good friend of mine who stuck with me through a lot of things, a lot of the struggles I went through, more post-university or during university, and somehow is still my friend now. Today we are joined by my good friend Alex. Alex, thanks for joining me today.
Hello.
Why don't you introduce a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
Let them know who you are.
My name is Alex. Born in Hong Kong and raised in Victoria. And I'm a 16th German.
I always forget that, actually.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I also forgot that you were born in Hong Kong.
Yeah, that's why when you earlier said born and raised, I was like, no.
I was incorrect.
That's all good.
Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. You are a very close friend of mine. And as you can tell, Alex and I joke around a lot. So sitting down and having a serious conversation in front of a camera might not be the easiest. But Alex and I actually have had a lot of really serious conversations via late car rides. I wanted to start by just chatting a little about how we met as friends. Do you remember any kind of recollection of when you first met me?
Chinese school for
Chinese
sure.
Chinese school, for those who went to Chinese school.
Yeah, 周末好好.
Do you remember the song?
周末好好, 周末好. I'll stop.
So we knew of each other's existence since we were quite young. So I knew that he existed. He also knew I existed because I was the principal's son. But fast forward, he was friends with my brother Silas in high school. I have a question for you. In high school, what do you see me as? You knew that, knew that I was Silas's brother, but I never really talked to you guys. I actually avoided you guys.
What do you see you guys? Like
what do you? Because you knew me as Silas's brother, but what was your perspective of me? Do you remember?
Perspective? Well, first of all, before I knew everything, or your testimony, or not, sorry.
What?
Never mind. Anyways, what did I think? Well, you always had like girls around you. So a group of my friends, we always be like, you're the lady killer or something, because ladies always surround you.
Wait, I'll beep your name out. He was the one who called me a pimp, right? Was he part of your crew?
So. Nah, kind of not really.
Well, Silas's age.
Yes.
Yeah.
So kind of. So yes, we always see obviously Christina, Maria.
Yeah.
Maria, Sheridan, and the Miss taller lady, Sierra. There you go. Sorry. Apologies. Sierra. Are you gonna bleep those out?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Sierra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always hanging around with you.
Yeah.
And we're like, damn, dude. Got some game.
I was a really good actor.
Got some game.
So you thought I just was really good with the ladies. But little did Alex know that was all a lie. Hey, to be fair, I did have a lot of guy friends too.
Well, I didn't ever see you around with dudes a lot of times.
I think that was supposed to be a sign for a lot of people.
I guess so. Yeah. But I didn't really think much of it, of course.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like I said, like you and Sauce were close, but we never really talked to each other.
Yeah.
There was basically in our school, there was this room called the multi-purpose room, and that's where all the Asians hung out, but I never went there because I knew that Sauce and his friends were there.
The Asian room, yeah.
The Asian room. What's funny is that I'm actually really close friends with people in your grad class. But you don't remember some of them.
Really? Well, I know.
Oh, before when I mentioned their names.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I know that.
But what's weird is that I was really close to a lot of people in your year, but then I still didn't talk to you. Like even when Sauce's year graduated, and you guys were grade 12, like your class wasn't that big either. So I knew like everybody. I even knew like Don more than you.
Really?
Yeah, because we were in band together.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Band. Yeah, I totally forgot Don was in band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think other than school, we actually were in a Chinese school class together, right? At some point, weren't we?
Yeah.
Wait, no.
When there was your mom was or we were in the same class when your mom was teaching us.
Oh yeah, because I was in classes with your sister. Which,
Yes.
to be fair, like I don't know, my Chinese is really bad, so I don't know how I was in the same class as your sister.
Huh? Oh,
Because your sister's Chinese is pretty good,
yeah, it's decent.
like written and like compared to me.
I mean, I don't know about
But
that.
I still
one,
beat her at mark, so
Yeah. Well,
I was
she's
serious.
okay. She's okay. My sister.
Are you better than her
What?
in Chinese?
I'd say so. I'd like to say so. No, maybe.
I apologize in advance to your sister.
Oh,
But yeah, we were actually in.
if she ever sees this.
if she ever listens to
Yeah.
this. We actually were in the same Chinese school class for a couple years, I think. Maybe a year or two, even, I think, at least.
Probably, yeah.
And then we did Mandarin class together, I think.
Mandarin for sure.
Yeah, with
Daniel Gogo.
老师.
老师.
Yeah. But yeah, so like fast forward, this is like a couple years later. You joined our choir. Actually, even before this time, I think you actually started to go to some of the dive events.
Really?
Is that true? Or was that around the same time? Do you remember?
Around the same time.
Around the same time.
Yeah. It was choir first.
That was in 20. Your first concert was the musical. Right?
Great ideas. Yeah. It was a great idea.
It was a great idea. I think that was 2013. So that's kind of where,
really,
like, our paths kind of reconnected.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, you were still in my head Silas's friend. So you would come to fellowship. You would come. You went to a retreat. Two of them. One of them.
One
of them.
two. Yes.
Two of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
two, yeah.
So like, I literally was like, you guys are like the weird in my head, the weird people side. But then, okay, actually, so after you joined choir and you came to church and all that stuff, there was 1 year, one summer where my parents went on a trip, and that's where Josh Mom was born.
Josh Mom.
And that's where we become closer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It started with Terry.
It started with Terry.
Yeah. And then it just, yeah.
You guys
It spread.
stayed over one night, and I cooked all the meals for these adult people.
What'd you cook? I don't remember. Did you?
You guys stayed over. You guys slept in the living room.
And you cooked?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I
actually don't remember you cooking.
That's how Joshman was born. Was because I cooked your meals, and like you guys were still
Oh,
sleeping, and
right.
I'm like, guys, it's time to
right,
eat.
Right, yes. Now I remember. And then you did the laundry right after that, didn't
Yeah.
you? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
and that's
yeah.
where Joshman was born, and that's when I started to get closer to you guys. Yeah.
Yes.
What else happened? I think just the fact that we were in choir together and we did concerts and stuff together, I think that also helped.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Do you, when I think about our friendship though, like, do you ever think of like a definitive moment where you kind of were like, oh yeah, we're good friends now, or you think back on it? Because I'm trying to think back on it too. I don't know if there was like a specific moment.
I don't think there was.
Right.
It was kind of just a mutual kind of a build up, I guess, in a way you could call it. I'd like to call that. And then I guess after a little while, yeah, it just clicked. I can't really think of the exact moment where I was like,
It definitely was a weird, like, because at first I consider you guys kind of like the older people, like, because when you're even in high school or middle school, like a 1 year difference is a huge thing, like for a lot of people. But then I think maybe because I was in university at that time, I remember it just kind of meshed together, and I realized that you guys were as dumb as I was. And then we just got along. No, it's honestly true.
yeah, it's true.
It's true,
fact.
right? And then you
We're
got
all
along
dumb.
with my church friends, and then we
Yeah.
all just started hanging out and playing games and all that
Yeah, I got
stuff.
close to Silas because of that too.
What?
Like, everyone's dumb,
Oh, that's true. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Okay.
What? Do you have
No.
something to say?
Huh? What?
You have something to say?
No.
You have something to say to Silas?
No. Yeah. I mean, love you.
Okay. Anyways, sorry, that was gross. But yeah, so before we move on to like a before, because I know that we became friends for a couple of years, and then I had shared my testimony with you. But before I share my testimony, do you remember just like generally, because like at first you told me just a couple minutes ago that you thought that I was this person who just had a lot of girls around him all the time. Do you remember just the kind of vibe or personality I had just before I told you my testimony, before I shared my story with you?
Like what I think about you?
Yeah. What kind of person was I?
Oh, you're just really friendly. And you seem educated. And and yeah, just bright guy, you know. At least that was before I knew you. So that's all. I mean, what more was there? I didn't really think much more after that. At the beginning it was like before I knew you. Yeah. Now I know you're just pretty stupid, but aren't we all?
I seemed educated.
Aren't
yeah, that's fair. Aren't we all stupid?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of like some context for the people who are listening or watching. How our friendship kind of just like slowly just
blossomed.
It wasn't a very definitive moment because we knew each other, but we just didn't know each other. Okay. And so I actually wrote this in my phone because I actually forgot. How did you find out? Like, did I share my testimony with you, or were you there at the testimony night? Do you remember?
I was not there.
So I shared it to you.
Yeah, you sent me the. Yeah.
Because I forgot whether you were there or not. No. Because my question to you is, do you remember kind of your reaction to that when I sent it to you?
Do I remember?
Yeah.
Exactly? No. But give me a sec here.
Just unlock a core memory.
Yeah. Well, first of all, for sure I was like, oh. I was like, oh. Like, oh. But anyways, but I mean, right away I was like, huge respect. That's a huge step, obviously. And I guess I did feel like I did want to know you more because of the fact that, you know, that you came out like that. And then it was just, obviously, you know, I don't usually say this to you, but it's like brave, obviously. And as a friend, like just kind of like not too close back then. That was back then, right? I think. But it's like, in a way, proud. And yeah, that was how I really felt at first. Yeah. How did you feel when you first shared it? Yes, to people. I'm sure you've told me before, but might as well just talk about it again.
It's definitely, even thinking back on it, I still remember feeling terrified. I can still feel that right now. I remember that day I shared that testimony. Like leading up to it, I had read it and all out, and I was like, this is gonna be so easy. I'm so ready for it. But I remember the day of, I didn't eat anything. I had no appetite. I was like shaking because I think reality had hit that me sharing this testimony could change my whole world. In a room full of people that I grew up with.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, even the day of that night, I had asked to be last because I was so terrified. I was literally like, I couldn't, like, I felt like I wanted to just vomit. And like all my friends were there, right? I have some of my friends who were in the crowd who knew. So like maybe two people. Christina was there. She was told before the testimony sharing, but even just having her there was still not enough because I felt scared that my best friends might reject me. And one of my pastors was there. Like some of the older people were there. Like I didn't know how they would react. I still remember just like mostly just fear. Like I hate thinking about it. Because I had to admit that I was like not okay, and admit that people were really mean to me, and like in a way, it kind of felt like, you know, this is something I learned recently, but somebody wrote a book about this person's mother, and that she had, you know, her whole life you hold your parents to this pedestal, right? Because they're supposed to be these amazing parents, but in her life, her mom was really abusive to her, physically and mentally, and she had to break that pedestal down and recognize that her mom was bad to her. And when I remember I listened to her interview, and that was how I felt then, because you know, all these people in this room saw me go through high school with all these really lot of friends, but to go, hey, just kidding, this person actually was the one who ruined me, or this is the person that actually hurt me a lot, to the point of I have trust issues, or it was like the first time. So I remember that was hard, because I had to admit that I didn't have the best friendships that people might have seen, or that I wasn't as strong or as happy as I put myself out to be. Because in front of everybody in that room, I was still the same person. Like I up to that point, I still acted the exact same. Like I was still cheerful, friendly, outgoing, extroverted. But when I shared that I was during university, I was the opposite. I was so quiet in university, with my university friends. I mean, right? And I don't like thinking about high school, because it was just a really dark time, right? And yeah, that's like, I know it's a long explanation, but it was a lot of feelings, for sure. But I remember because I remember I wanted to share with like you and like Terry and them, because you know, we at that point we were hanging out and like chatting, and like I saw you choir and dive and all those things, so I just felt like it was natural for me to be like, hey, by the way. But it also, I think I felt less scared to share to you, because I knew that you weren't part of my church. Like I generally assume that people outside of the church are more accepting, which is sad. I'm gonna be honest to people listening. Like that's really sad, because the church is supposed to be a place of love, right?
More love.
Continue.
No.
Right? Yeah. So that was kind of when you heard my story, and I don't think it really changed much of our friendship until later on. Like I think in front of you guys, I think seemed pretty normal. Like, but do you? Because I know what you were mentioning, you were saying how like when you're listening to it, you're like, oh wow, I didn't know that, you know, Josh, what you went through this stuff. Did that change any, like, for you? Because you told me earlier that you saw me as a very friendly, outgoing person. Like, did that change? Like, did you remember anything of that changing?
Like thinking that you're friendly?
Like, let's say like in terms of being friendly and like happy and like outgoing, you kind of just suddenly saw this new side of me that you've never really heard about, right?
Didn't really change much. But one thing that did change, for sure, this is about me though, is that it's okay for me to use the word. So I used to say like make gay jokes or fake jokes a lot, and uncomfortably a lot. And because you're so close to me back then, like once you told me, like shared that testimony, and we were getting really close then, I promised myself to not ever do that ever again, because I realized how harmful it was when you also, in your testimony, you were saying like how some of your friends were making jokes about it, and it made you uncomfortable, and about like, but you couldn't say anything about it until then, right? So then I realized that would be me, like, or one of them at least. So I realized how harmful that must have been for you. So I was like, well, never again. Like, that's it. Like, yeah.
Cause I didn't know that.
Huh?
I didn't know that.
Really?
No, you didn't tell me that.
Oh, well, I mean, like, as in, like, I made those jokes in front of you. Right?
I mean, to be fair, right? I didn't really, like, I think, like, for those kind of situations, yeah, I totally agree. I think it's important for us to, like, recognize our words and all those things. But I think when you guys said it, I always knew that it was never out of any hatred. It was never, like, out of spite or, like, anger or whatever. No, it was just, I knew that you were joking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, we should not just say these words because we just hear it. Yeah,
exactly. So even then, like, even whether it was just, you know, a joke, I just told myself, no, not again. That's it. Yeah. So stopped.
Thank you for that. No, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Even then, yeah, got to grow out of it. You know. Question before we continue.
Oh yes, please ask me the questions.
That question I just asked, I'm sure a lot of people asked you already, right?
Which one? Like the one you just asked?
Yeah, I just literally asked. Like the.
How did you feel when you shared?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, oops.
No, that's fine. Like it. I mean, every time I have somebody on, I feel like I'm still learning. I'm still in the process of healing.
Recollecting
and like having to like go back into that zone.
That zone, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like even just like the last person I interviewed was Bonnie. I didn't hear that interview yet, you know?
Yeah.
And so like for me it was like to be able to share that, which is a new thing I'm learning, because I'm still deconstructing and figuring out the things that I'm dealing with. So no, I and honestly, if you're curious, I think it's good for you to hear that too, right? Yeah. Okay, so here we go. So
let me look at the list.
How dare you look at
I'm
your
just
phone?
looking at the list.
No, he's looking at the questions, guys. He's a good guest. So
what do you mean unprepared?
No, it's fine. I'm always unprepared. Okay, so this is a moment I think that really shaped our friendship, because it was in 2016. Alex and I both had a really good friend who was not doing well in health, and so we connected on that a lot. I think just dealing with that situation. So Alex was we chatted a lot about our frustrations and concerns about our friend, who we miss dearly. That was, I think, one of the biggest struggles for me in my faith, and like in me personally, right? And it's Alice was one of those people during that time where I talked to a lot. We would on maybe once in a while after choir or fellowship, we would just like drive around and just chat, because I just had a lot of things going on. But during that time as well, I had like somebody, and I actually remember that Alex and I, before this moment, were just kind of like friendly chatting. This one time, Alex drove me home, and he just literally, I remember you just asking me, "Are you doing okay? Like, are you okay?" Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I just like it was like one of the first times I think somebody had asked me that question.
Oh, really?
You know? And during that time with our friend, during that time where I was dealing with my feelings towards somebody, like I wasn't in a good space. And that was like the moment where I was able to finally just word vomit and just like voice literally all these things that went through my head, because I learned now that I'm very much a verbal processor. So if I have things, if I need to rant, if I rant it, I'm fine. But if I keep it in, it just kind of keeps building up. And that was first time I really talked to somebody about my struggles with my feelings for this person, or my anger and my questions I had, about my friend who was suffering. And I think like what helped was that you were still kind of like removed in some ways, like, of the situation, like because you went to choir, you went to fellowship once in a while, but you weren't like part of the church community, and so for me, it's like if I shared it with somebody at church, it would be too close to home. But you were like a degree away, if that makes sense.
No, yeah.
But yeah, I remember like we grew really close because of those two situations.
Closer,
yeah. And so I remember what was really tough, like basically you were just somebody who was willing to just listen and just like let me just rant, and then you would give your little word of like maybe your own opinion or your thoughts, but also hearing like an outside perspective, I think really helped me give clarity to a lot of my situations. Yeah. Do you remember that time where we kind of started to become friends and like get closer in our conversations, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I think because that also was, I remember you sharing with me that you learned a lot about listening and empathy, like for people. I remember that you told me that. Do you remember that?
Learning, like
you were telling me that I was helping you understand the idea of empathy and learning how to listen and care for people. Yeah.
Probably.
You remember that? That's fine.
It's probably in the back somewhere, but I can't. Yeah.
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 But yeah. Okay. So I remember. Okay, if you want me to bleep it, I like take it out. I can take it out. Because I remember you had an interest in this person that was health-wise not doing well. Do you remember this?
I do.
It's okay if I talk about it?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
So one of my best friends, who is in heaven right now. She's just chilling and probably eating all her treats she wants to eat. But she was not doing well in her health. She had cancer, and she's a very, very dear friend of mine. And our whole community was affected by that. But I remember one of the hardest things for me was we had gone to visit her as a little small group of us. And at that time you had feelings for her, or you liked her, or had a crush or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And I remember it was tough because you wanted to be there for her, that I wanted to be there for her. But at that time, it was around that time where I told you that I liked you. Do you remember that?
I think it was around that. Was it around
that was the first time. And so during this situation, just some context, Alex was helping me with a lot of things that I was dealing with in terms of feelings for this person that I liked. And unfortunately, Alex became a rebound. And I can say that confidently now, that I understood what happened the first time. Because think about this, like, you are wanting someone's attention, someone to care for you, to listen to you, and then a good friend of yours is that person. And so Alex became a rebound. Which, I always think about the idea of rebounds as a terrible thing. That's like heartless, like that's not a good thing. But unfortunately, that's what happened, right? Because you created a really safe space for me to talk to you, and I felt very safe with you. But at the same time, you were, you had an interest in our friend. I remember we came back from that trip, and we were dealing with this awkward situation between us of, I liked you, and I knew that we needed that time away. But I remember, this is for me like a confession, because I realized that like I was quite mad at you at one period of time, because I remember when we were on that trip, I was talking to our friend, and I was in a good place at that when I was talking to her, and I had shared with you what I was talking, like I was having that conversation I had with her, and basically the conversation was that I didn't want to fight to live anymore, and I felt guilty because she wanted to live, but she couldn't fight. And I had that conversation with her, and that was a really hard conversation to have with her, because she didn't know I was suffering that much. And I remember sharing that conversation that with you, and I remember you kind of like dismissing it, or kind of just like, okay, like just no response.
Actually,
yeah. And I mean, to be fair, when I look back on that situation, like, I told you that I didn't want to be friends with you. We were trying to separate from each other, and I shared this thing to you. Like, I can see why you would be frustrated. Do you know what I mean?
So, that was after.
Yeah.
After you told me.
Yeah.
That told me that you don't want to.
So when I told you that conversation, it was after I confessed to you, and then we tried to split. Yeah.
Okay.
That was tough, really tough, like wake up call, because I think for me, I had to recognize that, our friendship's not the same anymore, right? And to be fair, I don't think you did that out of like maliciously. I think it was just a reaction of like, Josh, why are you being so clingy and emotional, even though you wanted to have space? You know what I mean? Like, when I look back on it, I get it. But in that moment, it was really hard, because it was the first time I had shared that I was not doing well. Yeah.
To me, anyways.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I appreciate it. But it wasn't like, that was a core memory that doesn't lot, to be honest. Like, I don't think I really remember that.
Oh, you had to pull that back. Like,
I was like, whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, it just kind of happens that way. Here we go. But yeah, and I mean, we continue after a little while. I remember, we became friends again. I remember that. It was like very much after some time, we kind of reconnected again, and I remember, I'm trying to put timelines here, but I guess before we move on to this section, this latter half of it, do you happen to remember, like, when I told you I liked you, what was your reaction? And do you remember where I told you? Because I remember where I told you.
Just there, wasn't it? Like, literally the next street there.
No. That was the second time.
That was the second time?
Yeah. Sorry, that's a what's it called? Spoiler. Spoiler. Remember the first time? Do you remember where?
Give me a second. Keep talking for a second.
It's very close to your home.
By the park?
Yeah, there you go.
Was it?
Yeah, that was the first time.
Oh, swings.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, unlocked core memory.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Do it. It's fine. If people swear on this show, it's fine.
Actually?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna blast off now.
Okay, calm
I'm
down.
just kidding. Okay. Yeah, I'll be calm. I'll try.
Because I remember,
okay, yeah.
I remember we went to the park,
Mm-hmm.
and because this,
Holy shit! Now I really.
Okay,
Like, now it's
so
come back.
this
Wow.
is a thing that I had recognized after liking a lot of the people and all those things. I remember being like, I need to tell this person and I need to have distance because I knew that it wasn't healthy for me to stay around somebody that I liked. I knew that for myself. So that's why we had gone to the park and then I told you and then I told you to go home. Do you remember that?
I think so. Maybe.
I just swung on the swings by myself.
Probably.
Yeah. Do you remember any kind of reaction or thoughts?
Thoughts?
Or like, yeah, what was going through your head?
I was like, oh, well, for sure. I was like, what? I was just like, whoa. I didn't think about that at all, right? Of course. And then where I guess I just didn't know what to say then. I think. Again, I don't remember how I felt, but I assume that I didn't know what to say then. So that's why I probably needed to walk, just go for a walk and think about it for a minute and be like, because we were really close already then, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, besides like, I guess I just didn't really think of it until, you told me, and then
it never was even.
Yeah,
like
exactly. It wasn't even there. Like, I didn't even think about it until, came up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt like, honestly, I guess now that I think about it, yeah, I felt then it was like, oh, how do I talk to you then? Like, because I know you like me. And then I was like, how should I talk to you? And stuff like that. But then after the next day, I think it was like, I tried to just, be right back into it. Was it the
Rookie
first time or was the
mistakes.
second time where I remember where for the next little while after the first time you told me was where you started
that's the second time. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Yeah. That's the second time.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
So, okay. So this is classic Josh move. When Josh likes somebody, but they don't like them back, well, that doesn't like Josh back. Josh likes to try to avoid at all costs.
No, I'm not talking about that.
No, I know what you're trying to talk about, but I'm just giving them context of how I react to things because I know that it's not best for me to stay in that situation. So like, I remember after telling you, we didn't really chat, we didn't really talk much, or even if we did see each other every week at like fellowship or choir, whatever. Yeah. But I would just try not to talk to this person. I don't remember. I would try to ignore you.
Yes. No, I think about it. Yes.
The second, like the one you're trying to say, that's the second. That was
the
the
second
one.
one. Okay. Well, you remember more than I do.
I remember very clearly.
Yeah, that's good. Because I don't.
Okay, because the second time was harder than the first time. That's what I remember.
Was it?
Yes. Because the first one was I recognized it was a crush and a rebound, and then I kind of got over it.
The second time you solidified that thought.
And then the second one was like, so, yeah. So, anyways, where am I going with this? So,
yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so that happens. Okay, I still like this other person. Remember, I was still. This is probably why it came such a shock to you because you were helping me with my struggles with liking this person, and then I just suddenly was just like, by the way, here.
Oh, by the way.
Oh, by the way.
No, I'm just kidding.
Back attack. And like but like I said, I recognized that it was a rebound, and because I just felt safe with you, right? You just created a safe space for me to share whatever was going in my heart, and like continue on to like we just kind of maybe a month or two after we just kind of went back to like our regular friendship. Like we just chatted still. I think
so.
The first one wasn't as bad as the second one.
I guess.
You don't remember the second? The second one was worse.
Second one was Well, that's the one where I was talking about, right?
Yeah, that's the one you're going to talk about.
Weird as for me, but Anyways, I don't know about you, but
okay.
okay, tell me. Yeah, okay.
Hey everyone. I hope you've been enjoying this conversation between Alex and I as we just reminisce and just chat about our past and our friendship, and just the feelings I had for him. And I hope you're excited for the second half as we dive into the next chapter as we deal with me liking him again and how we had to deal with that and how it was hard for the both of us. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can find it on Instagram at The Open Closet Media, as well as on YouTube at The Open Closet Media. On YouTube, you'll find the video episodes of the podcast episodes, so you can see us interact if you would like. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the second half of this episode. Do you have any questions for me before we go to the second half of this?
Any questions?
Yeah.
Not at this moment. I can't think of. Maybe. How did you really feel when you told me the first time? I mean, like what? Like during that moment when you decided to tell me, like,
I was scared.
what made you?
What made me want to tell you?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I knew there was some kind of crush.
Okay.
There was definitely something going on. I
Uh-huh.
just didn't know what it was at the time. That's why when I think back on it, it was just like a rebound crush thing, but it wasn't like solidified feelings.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, I
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back then, I think it's just like my body went into panic mode or like danger mode, being like, oh, I'm feeling something. I need to deal with it now. I'm very much like that. If I have like a feeling of something's wrong with somebody or whatever, I try to deal with it right away.
So you're impulsive.
Some ways, yeah, but logically,
Yeah.
not so logically.
It's good.
Yeah,
And
it's fine.
and it has this
Yeah.
pros. And
Have I
cons.
been emotionally? What's the word you just used?
What's the word that I just used?
Yeah.
Emotionally.
No. What would you?
Pros and cons.
No.
Solidify.
No. Anyways, I've also been very hasty with my reaction.
Impulsive.
There you go. Emotionally impulsive before. I recognize that. Anyways, so this timeline. I had a crush on Alex.
Mm-hmm. The first time.
There was like a month or two, but
Yeah,
whatever.
okay.
And then we became really close friends again.
Mm.
And then this was for a long period of time. This was for like a year and a half. Like this is like we were just good friends. We were just chatting. You would always hear me. Oh yes.
Yeah. Before we continue, I just suddenly thought during that time,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you shared that with other friends too.
What?
Like the rebound thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure you shared it to like your closest friends too.
No.
No. Not at all.
No.
Dang. Okay. I thought you did.
I don't see. This is what I'm processing. This is literally my right now. I'm processing everything. Yeah.
I see. Like that move. Oh, okay.
Everything in my life. Yeah.
Anyways, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we became really close friends for a year and a half. And I remember it was the summer of 20. Wait, what?
You gotta tell me about this.
I'm trying to remember. 2017?
Was it?
26.
6 or
when-
7. 16 or 17. One of those.
Yes.
Close. Before
Before you.
Viola.
Yeah.
Viola's in the back, by the way.
Oh, hello. Yes, Viola's in the back. She's chilling in the back. Wait. 2016 was Dive Retreat.
I wasn't there.
Yes, you were.
What was that one?
We went to Tofino.
Oh, that one.
Wait, that was 2017.
Oh, dive trip. Sorry, I was thinking.
That's 2017. 2017. Okay. So. So.
That was 2017. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Damn.
So. Here's the context. 2017. was the summer of many things. Okay, 2017 was a reason why I brought up the dive retreat was because it was around that summer that I had recognized that I actually had solidified feelings for you. Yes. And I remember me telling myself to not tell you until everything was over.
Everything is in...
Like the concert was done. Our friend's wedding was done.
Yep.
All those things. Well, in the midst of that, Alex was still helping me with my feelings, helping me with the thought of somebody maybe being at that wedding that I was not in good terms with. Right?
That guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which we're friends now. Did I tell you that? Anyway, sorry. We'll talk about that later.
Don't tell me that. Okay. That's a surprise to me.
Right? And so then I remember the reason why I brought up the Tofino trip was because it was a moment on that trip that I remember feeling so safe. Like I felt so genuine for a very first time in my life with somebody, with another guy. And I say that because I don't find it easy to make friendships with guys just because of things I went through. And I remember we were just like chilling because we were chilling. You and Terry and them had another room, right? You had another room. We all hung out in my room, but you had another like space or another building. And I remember we were just hanging out, chilling, watching. I don't remember what we were watching, and just chatting about life. And I felt so safe. And that was the moment where I was like, emergency, exit. Like I need to get out of the situation. And so then what happened was like continue on, and there were so many things that was happening. We had a huge summer concert, we had a friend's wedding, and all these things, and I said I had to hold on to these feelings until this is over because I don't want this to be awkward. Right? Because like we saw each other all the time, so like I realized I needed to tell you, but after I need to be logically like a time. And I remember when I told you the second time I told you, that was actually like solidified, like I actually had feelings for you. Yeah. And then that's where you said that was just like the street, like when you dropped me off.
Yeah.
Like we literally hung out, and then as I left his car, I said, "Hey, I like you.
Hey, by the way,
I don't think we can be friends."
What? You said what?
I don't think we should be friends.
You said that?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
And then I left. And then I went to a family barbecue. And then I cried on the way there.
Yeah. Why'd you say that?
Because that's literally what happened. I was late to the family barbecue. Because I was crying.
Gotta wipe your tears.
You gotta wipe my tears.
Was that Save Your Tears from what was that guy's name?
What?
The Weeknd. Save your tears for another day. Is that the lyrics? Save your tears for another day.
Okay.
Okay.
We can't use that music.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. You can only do 7 seconds of it.
Oh.
Anyways, so then my question to you is: do you remember that moment?
I don't remember you saying "don't be friends" part, but I remember you telling
something
me
along the lines of like we need some time apart.
Is that okay? Sticking my foot up.
It's kind of gross, but yes, my feet are up too, dude.
Is it?
Sorry, this is a really random episode. Keep going.
Say that again. What was your question again?
What do you remember? I was laughing in the back. Your short-term memory. Do you remember that moment when I told you the second time?
Yes, I remember. That's how I remember that one more.
Wait.
It was more clear than the first one because I don't remember the first one.
The first one was very short-lived.
Yeah.
So do you remember there when you dropped me off?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Yeah. Like, what was I thinking or how did I feel? Well, of course, first of all, I was like, not just I was like, uh-oh. I added a and I was like, uh-oh. Here we go.
Here we go again.
I was like, it's still happening. I thought that was, because I was just like, again, you were telling me about your other
Yeah.
crash, and I was like, how is this happening? What is happening, right? And after that, like, the second time was actually, for me, I didn't really react to it either. I mean, like, as much as the first time, where I was just like, oh, okay, we'll just, we're still, friends, right? I was just like, whatever you said, let's not, wait, we can't be friends anymore. I'm like, you're being silly, man. Like, what are you talking about? And then, but of course I didn't understand, so, anyways, so, for the next, weeks?
Months.
Was it months?
Okay, Alex and I
probably months.
did not talk, like actually talk like friends for months.
We were still going to choir.
But like
Yeah,
I
okay,
ignored
so-
the heck out of you.
So, well, no, you did not. Okay, so
Oh,
yes,
okay, wait,
kind of.
But yeah, okay.
So
sorry.
from my
Mhm.
perspective, this is what happened. Every time I'm trying to be like, or not trying to be, just being what we've always been,
Yeah.
just like
loser,
whatever,
bitch. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He said it. Anyways, so every time you respond to whatever I say, you'd be like a totally different person from from
What I was
how you
like
usually
before.
react, like, or reply. You'd be like, oh, it's okay, I'd be like, oh, yo, what's up, loser, or whatever, and I'd be like, oh, sorry for whatever, and you'd be like,
No worries.
no worries, it's it's fine, just be like, it is what it is, or whatever, and being very polite, and then being like a complete stranger to me. I'm like, that's from my perspective.
Yeah.
I remember that very clearly, where I was like, dude, let's just be a bit more, like, I was trying to be a bit more back to where we usually been, like,
Mhm.
whereas in just casual,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels like every time I talk to you, it was like we're just completely strangers.
Yeah.
Whereas in, what was in your mind when I
I literally tried to not talk to you or avoid you in any situation.
or tried to avoid me?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember there were moments where I recognized that it wasn't easy for you either. Like, because you knew that I was dealing with stuff. Like, you knew that, he knows a lot about me and probably can use it as blackmail.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
Probably. Just,
But like, I think I remember there were moments where it was hard for you, like, because you knew that I was suffering and dealing with a lot of stuff, but I mean, you were one of the only people that I talked to about stuff. I remember there's a couple of times, like, at badminton, I would see you, like, we wouldn't talk to each other, or I wouldn't talk to you, and then you would just kind of like, we would just kind of walk by each other. And I remember those moments where I remember seeing you look upset, and whether or not that was about something else or whatever, but I remember it impacted you in some way. And it wasn't easy for the both of us. Like it pretty much was kind of like a best friend breakup in some ways, right? Like,
say that.
it was just like sudden, and then I just knew that I needed to be apart. I knew that about myself just because of past things, right? And that's the reason why I like that person that we're talking about for 3 years, because I was always around that person, right? But we didn't talk. Okay, you know how long we didn't talk for? Like, actually talk.
Well, I know you
I went to
Vancouver to work,
and this is
that whole time we did not talk.
okay. You know what's crazy though is that I told you I liked you in the summer, in the end of August. So I went to Vancouver the next March.
So it was like almost a year.
Yeah.
Was
so I had to leave Victoria to finally process it, because we always saw each other every week.
Pretty much.
Right? And I came back and I was just like, do you remember that? Yeah.
Right.
Where because I came back,
Right.
you reached out to me, we went out for food, and then I said, are you guys dating?
Right. Oh my god.
Because I could see it.
That was as
knew
usual. And no one even thought about it.
Yeah.
But you were the first one to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because we were like under.
I
like,
knew it. Yeah.
And then literally, you're like, "Are you seeing someone.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I said. I don't
Yeah.
remember. Did I say no or how,
No, you
or,
were just like, and you told me.
did I?
Yeah.
I was like, but my first reaction was like, what the fuck? I'm like, this.
I'm a very observant person.
Uh huh.
You already knew that about me, though.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we didn't talk for almost a year. Like,
Mhm.
actually, like, friend talk.
Mm.
And at that point, when I came back, so much had happened, right? Like,
Mhm.
and then I remember catching up. This is a side note. This is for the person behind the camera, Viola. I remember one thing that really touched my heart and kind of made me go, this is a good person. This is for you. So she had asked me to go for food, and we went out for lunch at as usual. Yeah, as usual.
Mhm.
And you actually had asked me, are you okay with me and Alex? Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I didn't.
And this is I didn't tell you anything about my situation, but I think she's very observant. She knew. You knew something was going on. And I remember that was very sweet of you. And that was kind of like solidified our friendship. Yeah.
Oh, wow! I did not.
Oh my gosh, someone's calling me. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I'll text them. Sorry. Yeah. So, thank you for that. Actually, really, really helped. Yeah.
Wow! I did not.
Yeah.
This is first new. I did not
Yeah.
know about this at all.
I am a very observant person,
This is new to me.
but she also is a very observant person. Well, yeah. So we didn't talk for almost a year,
Mm-hmm.
and then we reconnected, and it took a while. It took a while for us to talk more. I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at least a couple months, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then fast forward, we became kind of friends and friendly and chatting, and you guys were long distance for a while. I remember just like talking to you about like how you missed her and like all that stuff, and then I moved to Vancouver, and then you guys were still long distance.
Yeah, even then.
And then, but then you told you, but then we were close enough at that point for you to tell me, well, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Taiwan, I'm gonna get married, blah blah blah, and then all that stuff. I wrote their letter for them.
Yes.
For PR.
For
right?
her, yes. You're one of those.
Sorry.
You're one of, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote a very good one. Apparently.
Yes, you did. Yes. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic.
But yeah, so like I like that was a really hard year of not talking.
Mm-hmm.
But I needed it to like get over the feelings, you know. And like I'll probably talk about this other person in the future, but it took me leaving Victoria to have to finally get over it, you know.
I know. Sorry, I know.
He knows.
I know.
So I think what's really cool is that actually Bonnie asked me this question in the last episode about like did I mourn a lot of the friendships I had with people that I liked, and I would say Alex is one of the only people that I had liked that I'm still close to.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Kidding.
No, it's not easy. It's not easy, right? But I'm thinking back on all those people, like the person that we're talking about, we're not really that close anymore, right? So, and even all my like, I think to be fair, like the people that I liked in the past, if I were to reach out to them, I would be able to talk to them again. It's not like super awkward. It's just time kind of passed. We kind of moved on to different stages, and then I think what helped was that you actually put in the effort to reach out to me. Yeah.
Yeah. It was alright. It was alright, buddy. What's wrong?
I think what was hard too was that I'm a very observant person, and so when somebody shows that they're observant of me or they can recognize that something's going on, that for me is like, oh, this person cares for me. And I think Alex and I became close enough to recognize that we knew when something was bothering the other person, right? And so that's why I think Alex knew, like, oh, something's going on with Josh. I should ask him if he's doing okay.
Mm.
Right. So those kind of things that's kind of probably what kind of started the feelings, right? Because for me, it's like I'm usually the person who's like something's wrong. Like I know something's wrong. You know? Yeah.
You're not really asked.
Yeah.
By others.
No.
Oh. Really?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Even by like your other closer friends?
I'm really good at acting.
Oh. Oh, they just don't know you enough.
Okay.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Alex,
I'm kidding, by the way. Christina, Catherine, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Stirring the pot behind.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just jokes. This is all jokes.
Okay, wait. Joke. So I'm pulling out my questions here. It's just making sure. Oh. Was it difficult for you to see me suffer with all those things I was dealing with?
Was it difficult?
Our friend passing, just like me going to therapy and struggling with all these things, or just like my sexuality. I think that was a huge thing. Like even when we were friends, I was still dealing with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you remember any moments?
Yeah. Well, definitely. I know that I should be there for you if you ever need. Or even like sometimes, of course, I ask you if you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a must, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, just be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And was it hard for me to see you like that? When I
think
see
you always see me cry the most.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't cry easily.
Yeah. How about? Let me see.
You trying to remember when I cried?
Exactly.
Bad memory.
Probably. I'm trying
yeah.
to dig it out. You know, there's a lot of stuff in my head right now, or not enough, but
not enough.
You know. Anyways, really? Like I see you. Like
yeah. A lot of my close friends have never really seen me cry.
Christina, Catherine.
I made them cry.
Oh.
Wait. So
What'd you do?
happy cry because I like would like at our when I was in grade 12, I surprised them with a song, a goodbye song, and stuff like that.
Oh.
Or they cried at my testimony or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know why I keep calling them out here.
It's fine. They're gonna hear this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You think so?
Yeah, probably.
Catherine most likely. I know because she's been on here for
Yeah.
Ages now.
Yeah. She's been on here once. It's a different podcast.
Really?
Alex is not a good friend of mine.
Wait, hold on. Which one is this one?
So that's it for today.
Wait, which one's this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I see. Rice washed.
See,
I know
Violet,
that.
maybe
I know
switch
that
places.
one. I know that. I didn't. Yeah, my bad. Has Christina? Has she been featured before?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Is
I
she
would
gonna
love
watch
for her
this?
to be here when
If
she's
she-
comfortable.
If she
When
sees
she's
this,
comfortable.
when she's comfortable,
Yeah.
have you asked her before?
Of course I have.
Christina, what's wrong with you?
Because internet.
I'm just
Oh my
kidding. I'm
gosh.
kidding. I'm kidding.
She's gonna.
You think
kill
she's gonna watch it?
I hope she watches this episode.
Yeah. Just tell her to watch this specific. I'm gonna talk to her right now. Christina, if you're watching this, what is your No, I'm just kidding. No. Okay. I'll stop. I won't call anyone.
I love you, Christina. You can hate Alex. That's fine.
Oh, love too.
Um.
Love you too.
Anyways,
I
Alex
guess.
just forgets that I cried in this car a lot. Anyways,
Hmm?
next. Ooh. What was the biggest thing you've learned from this friendship?
This is the same list that you gave me.
No, I just wrote some random questions.
Oh, well, say that again. Sorry.
What?
I apologize.
What was the biggest thing you've learned from this friendship? Or things?
Things?
Yeah.
To be more patient and understanding for close friends. I think about like my other buddies, like, Jovi, Terry, Eugene, and Dong, and, Steve and them. We would usually just, we won't ask each other as often how we're doing. But you, on the other hand, was where we kind of we actually, care for each other and stuff like that. And it makes me realize that I actually don't know how they do. Like, as in, like, I only ask you, really. Like, during that time where we kind of started getting close, I literally only ask, you're the only, best friend that I would actually ask how you're doing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The other guys, I just won't. And I feel like there was a time where I did go through a tough time with at least a couple of the guys for a little while, not too long ago, probably a couple of years ago. You probably don't know about this. I never told you about this, but like now that we really talk about it, I think I should be more caring for them and not just I don't know, opposite of caring, careless, or like,
I get it.
just don't,
like, at least ask them how they're
not diving into their lives.
Yeah.
Putting myself into their lives. Try to put myself, or support them as much as I support you. And there's some things where I feel bad about still sometimes, like about for them anyways. But I try to keep moving on, and now I do want to show them more of my love, I guess, in a way. And there was a moment where, with one of the guys where, he would just tell me, like, there was a conversation with one of them where he said that, I know we're like bros, right? But no matter what, we still gotta look out for each other, right? And just not be so careless. And he was saying that I was not being a part of the group, because there's so many things where I just kind of don't even just care about them or whatever. And in my perspective back then, I didn't see it until most of them also say it or whatever, or whatever it is, or maybe just a couple of them. But anyways, so then now I think about it, it's where again, back to where I learned from our friendship is, again, patience and understanding and more love, more care for each other.
And you know what, I want to be honest, it's not the easiest thing, right? Like, to be emotionally vulnerable and open, and unfortunately, especially in the men of the culture, especially in I don't want to say just men, but it's very common in a lot of we call it toxic masculinity to not share, to be emotionally vulnerable. So I get why a lot of those, maybe some of your friendships didn't start like that. And to be honest, I don't think I know that I'm a caring person, but I didn't learn empathy and like emotional vulnerability until I went through what I went through. So I think if I didn't go through that, I feel like our friendship probably would have been maybe similar to just not really, just being like haha friends or whatever. It's a skill. It's a skill that you can learn, right? And so I'm glad that you're at least recognizing that. I think a lot of people have friendships that are very surface level, which is not bad, but there are times where I think you do need to dive a little underneath the surface, right? Some of my best friendships are ones where we laugh 80% of the time, and 20% of the time we talk about things that we're going through, and then we help each other out, and then we go back to being friends and just playing games and all those things, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. What else do I have on my phone here? Ooh, this is a good question to end. How have I changed over the years? From to all
you're worse now. No,
okay. So that's it for today's episode. Yeah, thank you.
감사합니다.
Because I mean, you you knew of me before I shared my testimony. You knew me when I shared my testimony, and then you also were around when I fully shared, like recently, right? Like publicly shared.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Did you see any kind of change?
Yes.
How so?
First of all, most importantly, you seem happier now. That's most important, honestly. Second thing, you're more. Feels like you're more carefree when you start. You just say whatever you want, really, now. Whereas you don't need to hold back anymore, right? Compared to before, right? I don't know if you feel that way.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think so.
Well, obviously, because of after your testimony or whatever, and what else? What was it change? Let me think about the other thing. I know there's something there, but anything else you want to say besides
I
that?
don't think so. I think that's probably my last. The question that I had, I think we already kind of talked about.
What was that?
Do you have any questions?
She says no. She's like
no questions. I was gonna say that I, like, from when I first knew you to now, I definitely had seen you change. Like, in the way, like, kind of when you say how you learn in this friendship, you learn about being patient and caring. I did see that. Right. I just see you put in the effort of, like, trying to listen and ask questions rather than just listen, or like when you're listening and after I share something, you would encourage me to do something or ask me what I'm going to do, or like, what's your next thing, Josh? Then what are you going to do about it? Do you know what I mean?
Actually?
Than this, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've definitely seen that. Like, because I think all of us can say, like, all your friends and family can say that you're genuinely a caring person. Like, you have a really big heart for people. But what was different was that not just in your actions you're caring, but in your words and, like, how you interact with people is very different. Yeah.
Like, compared to before?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Like, I don't know, like, it's kind of like, when you talk to, I don't know, when you talk to somebody and it's like there's small talk, right? Like, you can just ask, like, how are you? Good, thanks, okay, have a great day, blah blah. But when you talk to people, there's, like, actually sense of, like, how are you? Like, that's kind of what I get. Like, you're actually asking how they are, rather than just kind of like small talk. Yeah.
Becoming less of an introvert.
I would say, I mean, I'm an introvert.
Yes and no.
I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert with people I'm close to. I'm an introvert in front of new people. But you have never seen me in front of new people.
Yes. Actually, yes. Same. Same.
Same.
I think we're all the same. Same.
Any last comments?
Last comments? Well, first of all, no, I did not think of anything else about you, like, changing. That was the majority of it, because, you're always bright. You're always, like, so cheerful, kind of. There are times, obviously,
Yeah.
You're. Oh, okay. There's something. Yeah, if you're frustrated about something, you don't put it in front of me, anyways. You don't put an act up anymore. You just let me know. You just say it right away. Like, as in, like, even if it's about something else or someone else. And you say it, and then you just show it, right? But back then, you'd be like, you say it, but then at the end, you'd be like, oh, but it's okay in the end of the day. But now it's like, no, it's not okay. Like, you want to, like, you show that you're actually not fine with whatever it was, and you want to fix it or whatever. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So back then, again, you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, hopefully.
I think I okay. It's like I'm really frustrated with this person, but maybe it's not actually their fault. It's like, maybe it's me. Like,
There you go.
I think that's what I was back then, but now I'm kind of more like, no, I'm just frustrated with this person because they did something,
Yeah.
and less so of like, Oh, maybe it's my
putting
fault. Maybe I'm
blame
too
on
sensitive,
yourself. Yeah. Exactly. Like, you're not as
I care less.
vulnerable. Would you say that? Vulnerable. I don't know.
I don't know.
My vocab's limited. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I'm not as educated with the Mr. 2 degrees here.
Okay. We didn't have to bring that
Yeah.
up. I'm not even really using it. Anyways. Yeah. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
As somebody who has not listened to any of my episodes, this is how I usually like to,
I have bits and pieces.
but not the entire thing.
Not.
So, this is how I end my episodes.
I might watch this one.
Just watch himself talk.
Watch us talk.
I hope that you also gain insight in this conversation as much as I did.
Insight.
Because we haven't talked about
Yes,
we haven't
yes.
talked about it
At all.
at all since
Before coming here,
yes.
when you mentioned that we're gonna talk about when you liked me,
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, right, yeah, we never talked
Right.
about it. And I was like, oh, even on the car ride, like, to your place,
Uh-huh.
I was telling Val, I was like, I haven't really read the questions at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's pretty much freestyle. Like, we're just, just doing whatever. And
Yeah.
then I was a little nervous because I was like, first of all, obviously there's a camera there, and you're gonna post it online.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what do I do?
Uh-huh.
Am I gonna be nervous in front of the camera?
Yeah.
Whatever. But it's kind of.
I just hope whoever is listening can, like, the reason why I want to talk to people that I like is because they're all different situations,
Mm-hmm.
but like these kind of situations are always dealt differently, right? And how we dealt with it can be very different from my situation with somebody else versus somebody else. But this is like an example of, like, there are ways to become friends again,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe there aren't, but there's, I think for me, it's just showing that there are different sides to different stories, and we both came out fine.
Yes.
Anyway, so
Yes.
I like to end each episode by saying that I really appreciate you for coming on today. That I love you, and I hug it out.
You're welcome, by the way.
I really don't want to hug you.
Okay.
Ugh. That's it. Peace. This friendship with Alex has been a very long one and sometimes difficult. And I hope that in this episode that you gain some hope, some insight in your future friendships, relationships, as although it was difficult, Alex and I were able to become friends again and to work things out. And honestly, I can say that we're probably closer than ever. And I hope that this encourages you. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Please share this with a friend and spread the message of the open closet. I would love to just have more listeners and have more people just get involved and send me DMs or messages and whatnot. Just know that you are loved, that you're made in God's image. I love you and God loves you. Have a great one. I'll see you next time.